since we all began the program. So thank you all for your participation in each of these trainings. So I see that we have, in addition to Ultimate, we have Livingston, WellSpace, Lifelong, and Borrego on. Yes, great. So thank you to each of you. And so this training is going to serve a few purposes. In addition to learning additional items relating to the program, we are going to talk about the tracking sheet that I had sent everyone yesterday, and we're going to have a presentation from the office of our Secretary of State. So if no one has any questions, actually I'll pause there to see if anyone has any questions, and if not, I'll go ahead and hand it up to Eduardo. All right, hearing none, Eduardo, go ahead, take it away.
All right, thank you, Victor. Good afternoon, everyone. I will jump right in, and just a bit of a disclaimer or heads up, I'm actually recording this. We've started to put these up on YouTube. For those that want to go back and review or just have missed some of the previous ones, I will direct you guys to the recordings for these as well. We're also going to answer a lot of questions. I suspect that kind of as we're moving more into the process, there's more kind of clarifying questions or questions around kind of the process. And so we'll be touching on some of those as well. Yeah, let's jump right in. Kind of to start to address some of those questions, you guys all should have received pledge cards, voter pledge cards, where we're asking patients to, and actually staff, to commit to vote in November. We worded this in a way that's intended to be inclusive, right? If you have a patient that may not be eligible to vote, for instance, we can still say, you know, have your voice heard. We were able to translate these into Spanish for now, and then we're working on the other languages that have been requested, and we'll be shipping those out to you. One kind of hiccup that we had here is that we were intending to add everyone's logo when we printed these and sent them out, just given the short turnaround and the timeline we were on. We didn't have the proper format, I guess, for all the logos. We ended up just printing as a My Vote, My Health pledge card and sent those over. So we're asking you guys to get started on those with that batch of cards as we add a second round of logos to the second batches. We're hoping it's not that big of a hiccup. We're hoping that we'll be able to complement it with other handouts. For instance, we're working on some material that will have your guys' logo. So kind of coupled with the pledge card, you know, a handout, a voter guide, we're hoping will make sense for you guys to give out. But we also have a script that I'll be forwarding, which I don't know if was already included in our email communication out to you. But the intention is identifying kind of that entry point around, is it my front desk staff? Is it our outreach staff that then is going to table with these or use these, you know, as appropriate, as you guys deem helpful to integrate this into your work. And then as we collect these, this is the group that we hope that you'll help you meet your metric of 1,600, you know, unique touches, and also to build your list to start to do like a little bit of a voter GOTV follow-up, actually, right? So as you guys kind of get to the phase, those that have committed to vote, we want to make sure we follow up with them. I'm going to be sending links to what we also figured would be probably easiest is that we created individual links for you guys for each health center. It's a little tedious, but what we would ask is that we would enter the data into the submittal kind of document, right? So if there's a bulk update where you guys have it in your Google Doc and want to do that, we could also submit that. But what we're hoping to do is help you guys organize this list. And so I will send links for both as you guys collect the pledge cards. Obviously, you want to keep the physical cards as well, but we want to get that data digitally as well over time. So I will stop there. Any questions about that, or thumbs up if you received the pledge cards and have those in hand?
Hi, this is Olivia. I do. So just to make sure, you said that we can still count those patients who are not eligible to vote, right?
Exactly. For the sake of our MOU and our program, if you are engaging, for instance, non-voters, that can still count as an impression. It's still, you know, the hope it's a little more nuanced messaging, right? You can't actually ask them to vote, but you can say, hey, help us spread the word or something like that. But for the sake of impressions, yes, you can count that as to your deliverable, and we hope that they'll be able to spread the word with folks that they know as well.
Okay, thank you.
And kind of related to that point, I would say that you could also count staff. If your staff is pledging to vote as well and you're signing up these pledge cards, they count as well. All right, any other questions on this piece? All right, I will, the next document is a bit behind schedule, unfortunately. I apologize again for this, but we have a toolkit that was created with the latest and greatest in terms of COVID, talking points, latest influence, it integrates some best practices that we adjusted to during COVID with some of our census outreach and some of our even voter outreach. So I'm going to be following up with this meeting. It's as you can see, the image there. The COVID toolkit addendum is all inclusive of all this material, but we're hoping that you'll check that out. We can cover it in our next touch base, and we hope that the talking points included in there are helpful to you. And so that is again influenced by. It kind of walks through very briefly what latest is happening in terms of voting during COVID, some suggestions for outreach, some digital suggestions, and then it kind of talking points are included. But then also a checklist. So as you can see here on the far right, it has a checklist of all the materials that we'll be offering you guys and making available for your use to be able to implement that. So this will be coming as a follow-up document. And it kind of complements the original HealthKit 5-touch toolkit that we touched on in the beginning. The next section we'll just dive right into, and I'll call on Cynthia to go over the latest material that we have. So as you can see there, the checklist includes the 5 touches. The 5 touches, once again, as we think about them, are every point of entry for the patient coming into the clinic and your health center, right? So when they arrive, the touch with the front desk staff or a staffer, it could be these days maybe the screener, the COVID screener that can introduce the concept. But you want to have them equipped with the training, talking points, and then handouts, which could include the pledge card. We have commercials and PSAs coming your guys' way. The Secretary of State, Alex Padilla, was kind enough to record something for us, and so we'll be sharing that with you. That is touch number 2. We have started to share some of the recordings of the on-hold messages, some of the scripts for after patient plan summaries, as well, and so that's the kind of the other touch that we do, and then posters, signage, and all those other collateral items that we'll be sharing with you guys. One quick update, kind of clarifying point. So AltaMed is going to print pledge cards, some posters, and handouts for you. But in terms of everything else that we've been sharing, I invite you. You guys are actually going to be asked to print those regionally, actually. So we will let us know if we can help you in identifying a print shop if you need one. Hopefully, you guys have one that is available to you. But we are happy to connect you with one if needed. I see a question from Christina in Borrego.
Yeah, just a quick question. This screensaver, did y'all envision that as something that is on the computers for staff, like on our laptops to see, or did you envision it as patient-facing, like the monitors that are in the exam rooms or the waiting rooms?
Both actually, and at AltaMed, we actually have them running on cycle. Like for instance, the patient monitors in the exam rooms, when they lock up, we have different messaging on it. So we have that on loop, and it gets integrated into the other messages. So very helpful to do it in the exam rooms and at your clinics. But then also with staff, really our office staff also has screensavers going, and so I think we have a mix of both kind of overall organization-wide IT kind of synergy or like set up, and then we have to do it case by case. So, but yes, it would be for both actually. Those are helpful in both situations.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions thus far? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'll invite Cynthia to share hers, just to walk through some of the material and where we're at, latest and greatest with the pieces that we'll be offering you guys.
Okay. You let me share. Let's see if it works. Is it working? Can anybody see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
And I'm sorry if you could.
Whoever's typing, if you could put yourself on mute, that'd be great. Thank you.
All right. Oh, and then also, I'm sorry, I heard like background. Maybe that was it, or it's me. But let me just share really quickly. Well, not too quickly. How about that? Because these are pretty good, awesome materials. So these are the materials that we're going to forward pretty soon. The first one, if you're seeing here, it's the Stay Safe, Vote Early. These can be printed as a poster, can be printed as a to be mounted on an easel, and that's what we're doing for our clinics, but it's both in English and in Spanish. And you can add your logo, so it is clickable on that. You could definitely just input your logo in there. And those are, again, it could be a size of a 24 by 36. You could reduce it a little bit. Right next to that is our tabletops. It has the same content, but one side is English, one side is Spanish. We could also look into different languages as well as that comes about. But these are pretty great at your front desk, in your lobby. And these could be added into like the clear acrylic stands, which I know for us is budget saving techniques. And this one could be on a simple acrylic stand that the price is relatively inexpensive, like $2. And then you can print these out. So these are just ways that you could implement that. These two are the screensavers we sent out last Friday, I believe. Days become a blur now for some reason when you're working so much. But these screensavers as well. And they should be editable where you can add your logo as well. If not, please let me know. But we made sure before sending them out that you could do that. And again, like Eduardo said, these are the ones that could be for your patients, for your staff. It's for everybody. And they're both in English and in Spanish. Here, I'm just showing the English version. The next one, these on your left are business cards, but these are intended more so for your providers that they could just carry in hand to patients. And it has information about, you know, the election and when you start receiving vote by mail ballots. And this is literally the size of a business card, so it'd be a little bit more inexpensive to print. So these are very easy. We've had our providers do it before as well. And we know they don't like to carry a lot of stuff. So this helps. But again, it could be altered. It could be changed to any other event or any other individual that you would like to carry these. The pledge cards are to the right. Those are the ones we sent out printed. And as Eduardo mentioned, we could definitely look into the logos and possibly different languages as well. These are pretty cool. This is what I'm excited about, are the Vote Safe, Vote Early posters. These are just a few images. We're going to have a total of 4 images, both in English and in Spanish. And these we would send out printed on 11 by 18. And most of these you could put in your lobby, behind exam room doors. And it's just very general, to the point, talking about the election date. And this is one way to engage patients and staff as well. Our previous posters, we have them plastered all over our clinics. And I, as a patient, and my kids are patients too, we've sat in the exam room and guess what I'm looking at? One of our posters. I'm like, that's great. So that's what every other patient will be doing as well. Like we all do. We start examining the room while we're waiting. Of course, this is for in-visit. I know telehealth, it could be adapted a little bit different. So those are soon to come. And then this one is the on-hold message, both in English and Spanish, the audio files. The scripts can be used for text messaging and for the after-visit summary if you use Epic, or patient plan summary if you use NextGen. Those are the only 2 systems I'm familiar with. If you use any other system, of course, you could use these as well. And this is something very easy. I get it as a patient. So when I get my patient plan summary, I actually see the bottom and it'll give you this information, both electronically and the printed piece you need to hand out to your patients when they're in the clinic. These are the TV commercials and PSAs that Eduardo was talking about with the Secretary of State. And then, of course, our animated Get Out the Vote commercial in both in English and in Spanish. So more to come on those. The other things that we do have, and we have the design and template for these, is we have hand sanitizer. It could just be a simple My Vote, My Health. These are extremely popular. They're back in stock, amazingly, which was very difficult before. But these are great because they actually look like markers. So people don't assume it's a hand sanitizer, and it's very easy just to place in your pocket, in your purse. So this is actually one of the most successful items we've had. And again, the vote sign, the circle, that could be for a pop socket, which we've used. It could be for, and we're actually stickers that say vote. We're in the process of changing that color for everyone to use with the blue and orange. So that would be available as well. Stickers a little bit cheaper to print, especially for National Voter Registration Day that's coming up September 22nd, I believe. Not Jonathan's going to kill me that I didn't memorize that. But those are great just to put on your staff and just wearing it. And it's one more nudge for patients to see and other staff members to see. And one thing, just I know that I've noticed, if you have one staff wearing a button, the other ones will ask, well, where did you get that? And I'm like, it's spreading the word. The black background with vote, that's a face mask, actually, that we're going to be printing out. We could also have it in the orange and blue colors, the CPCA colors, and have that template for you as well to print. A little bit more pricier, but again, just the effectiveness, especially the distance of 6 feet, you want to be with somebody, you could actually see that from a distance. So these are great promotional items. More to come with that, of course, Eduardo mentioned, voting scripts, Election 101 flyers, which is a simple handout straight to the point, which would complement that pledge card as well, and voter guides. And I think that's it. I love all the material, but definitely available to everyone. Any questions?
Awesome, thank you, Cynthia. It looks like we have one regarding and I know we've discussed this, right? The paper quality for the posters so they can clean them. We use Cynthia, you can fill us in, but we were also looking into the laminated piece of it as well, actually.
Yes, and that's one thing that is my dream, is to have it laminated, just because it won't tear as easily, and you could definitely clean them. So we could definitely look into that. In the meantime, we could see, and I'll update the team on that. But yeah.
Awesome. And then, of course, we always think of price points in mind, right? So when we do the face mask, for instance, they're a few bucks each, but I mean, if you add it all up, that all adds up, so it can get a little pricey. And so what we end up doing is we get creative with our clinics, and we do a little bit of an incentive, right? So it's like, if you help me be an ambassador, or you know, different ideas, we welcome all of those. We learned early on that when we started giving out just giveaways, tote bags and whatnot, just without any ask, you know, they weren't treating it as a you know, as seriously, but then over time we got smart and we started you know, sign a pledge card for me, or take a talking point sheet and commit to helping us spread the word, wear a button, things like that. So let us know. Again, we can provide print shop recommendations, that quick turnaround that would ship to you guys, or let us know if there's questions around. Again, we want to provide these graphics as ideas and samples for you guys to use if applicable already, just as is, but also to start sparking, generating ideas around, you know, how to use it. One thing we saw during the census, for instance, is when we started going to our clinics with this, we would have our nursing staff, you know, offer to, like, oh, we're all gonna sticker up on a Tuesday, and we're all wearing a vote sticker, and that'll be our message for the day. Or we're gonna decorate one of our nursing stations with a handmade vote sign, and we're gonna put these handouts there. And things like that, right? So all those are definitely types of ideas that we welcome, that we've seen. Once, and as Cynthia mentioned, once the team starts to kind of get into it, and you know, it starts to understand what we're trying to do, it starts to spread, right? It starts to change the culture a little bit amongst the team. Let's see.
So there's another question. No, on the swag, we could definitely remove the ultimate and just do the CPCA colors, My Vote, My Health. But these are the samples that we have. Not to show off our material, but definitely we could definitely change that. So yeah, that would be available if you're interested. We could definitely work on that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. No, absolutely. I mean, your brand is your strength, and so that's what absolutely the My Vote My Health campaign is the only one that we have on there in terms of just because we're all part of that kind of this program. But absolutely would envision it with your guys' logo as that is clearly your guys' the strength here. Any other questions with regards to everything we covered here, or questions about kind of collateral material? Okay. Well,
No, and then definitely you could reach out after. It doesn't have to be right now. Maybe just like think a little bit, let it sink in, and maybe you have a different idea. Maybe it's a different item that would be successful in your community, and let us know because we would love to implement that as well. So of course, not to put anybody on the spot right now, but definitely let it sink in.
Awesome, thank you, Cynthia. And we'll keep the chat box open for just keep commenting. And again, we're totally available. Just like thank you, Cynthia. As you said, just reach out with any questions. I'll keep us moving just for the sake of we have the special guest joining at 12:30, and wanted to cover the next two items as well. Let's see here if it changes over. Okay, there we go. Actually, I hand it over to Victor for this one.
Great, thank you. Let's see, a few weeks ago, CPCA, the CPCA Legislative Committee and Board went out and publicly came out in support of 3 ballot propositions. That's Prop 15, 16, and 17. Prop 15 deals with schools and local community funding, so it's colloquially referred to as split roll. And we were supportive of that because not only is it for the better good of our communities, but also a portion of those funds could go to counties, which in turn could help address the social determinants of health, and part of those funds could go to community health centers. So we thought this was a big, bold initiative for us to engage in, and therefore we did support Prop 15. Additionally, we are supporting Prop 16, which is overturning Prop 209 from 1994, essentially ending the ban on affirmative action. And then finally, we're supporting Proposition 17, which is allowing parolees the ability to vote. So we're really excited to be supporting these 3, and we'll be encouraging all of you in your outreach to be sharing, encouraging your patients, staff members, colleagues, community members to support those as well. And we're going to be including those on our voter manual as well. So just wanted to highlight these 3 propositions, and I guess I'll pause there to see if anyone has any questions on this, or if Eduardo, you have anything else to add.
Awesome. Yeah, the only thing I would add is, well, I think we mentioned this early on, right? So when we offer, obviously it's a big election year for our patients and community, but when we actually point out something that we're voting for or something that we can specifically talk about, that can be really helpful too. So that's kind of the thinking with this. If we're able to support outreach for these propositions, it'll help with voter mobilization.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was getting a weird feedback. I probably still am. I was trying to readjust my mic. Apologies for the echo. So these images that we have here, the one in the middle with our CEO, that one was something that we used in the past. We're going to create a certain iteration of that. The steps are going to touch on COVID, right? So largely vote by mail. Everyone's encouraged to do that. Stay safe, things like that. So we can provide something that looks like that, where it's a C3, it's totally permissible, even with a proposition that would say something like, CPCA endorsed initiative or whatever, or, recommends voting yes on this, for instance, if that's the route we decide to go. And so the purple versions here would look like what, of course, in the blue and orange color sequence, but they'll look more generic, right? It's not like the more yes on language necessarily. The Ultimate Action Fund, we actually have a C4, so we do have some of those materials. And so I just wanted to kind of point that out in terms of C3 stuff, even with ballot propositions, are totally permissible for health centers, and we can provide further guidance on what that looks like and what that means. But yes, thank you. And Victor's absolutely right. Like, we encourage you guys to help spread the word on this and mobilize voters with these propositions. All right. Again, if there's any other questions, feel free to reach out to Cynthia, myself, and Victor. We'll keep the chat box open and let us know if there's any questions. Hopefully, there'll be some time at the end if anything comes to mind as well. Our speaker is going to join us soon. So he's from Secretary Padilla's office, actually. He's been helpful in helping us navigate voting during COVID this year, right? And just all the changes that have happened with voting under the Voters' Choice Act, right? So in LA County and Orange County, we're really privileged to have leaders that are trying to expand and make it easier for our electorate to vote. And so in March, we had a great time supporting these initiatives. Unfortunately, then COVID came around, so things are looking a lot different this time around. And so welcome you guys to ask specifically about plans for your county. Roberto's making himself available for that. So he'll touch on the latest with what's happening with the state, probably touch on what's happening, all the chatter around the post office and things like that. So invite you to ask him any questions. Before he joins, I'll ask, or while he joins, I will ask Cynthia to just kind of touch on a little bit more of what Ultimate's been able to do in LA and Orange County. Again, we were super fired up and we're ready to do it again in March. We're really looking forward to going back out there. And then with COVID, we're still planning on that, but it's looking a little bit different already. And so we are wanted to touch on a little bit of what we're doing here at Ultimate. And then as Roberto joins, which I believe he's dialing in now, I will be able to hand it on over to Roberto to talk to us as well. Cynthia, do you want to just briefly touch on what we did in March and what we're working on currently?
Sure, definitely. For March with LA County and in Orange County, we were able to have a ballot drop box. For LA County, we did participate in the Flex Vote Center program. So this is at all our PACE locations and our corporate office. So we had a great success rate, and we had a lot of staff and patients go in and vote. So that was extremely successful and great. Now, unfortunately, as Eduardo said, due to COVID, it's a little bit different. For Orange County, we're looking at pop-up mobile voting. And then for LA County, it would be flex voting, a mobile voting as well. And then staff ballot boxes inside our clinics. That's still TBD. But flex voting, it would be outdoor. Since we have a little bit of space, it would be outdoor voting, of course, social distancing, proper PPE, following that. So this is an ongoing relationship with our Register Recorder's Office in both counties. Slowly, over the years, I'm getting to this point, and it's a great partnership because we both feel the need to reach out to our communities, especially our low propensity voters. So this is where we're working on. Those pictures are at our PACE locations in front of our clinics, and that's our famous ballot box in Orange County. So yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Cynthia. And welcome, Roberto. Thank you so much for joining us. Eduardo at Ultimate, how are you? I will hand it over to our guest speaker, who's been kind enough to take his time to connect with us. Roberto, as I shared, kind of leading up to this meeting, these are all our leaders statewide working at health centers, big and small, in various counties throughout the state, and hoping to engage our patients and our employees and our community really around this upcoming election. And so I want to thank you for joining us. The floor is yours. I'll stop sharing my screen here so we can have a conversation and welcome any updates that you're able to share.
Great. Can you all hear me pretty good? Cool. Hey, well, thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to speak with all of you. And it looks like some of you are already jumping on and getting things going. So I'm really happy to see, all that activity in Orange County. I'm just going to talk about a little bit of a quick update on some of our election needs, and then we'll jump into some updates on vote by mail and continue on to the last day to vote. As previously mentioned, there's been a few counties across the state that have expressed some election needs, primarily voting locations. So as you know, with this pandemic, some of our voting locations that have been for years established, senior homes, senior facilities, the garages are no longer an acceptable location to do a vote center or a voting location. So we're thinking outside the box and bringing in other partners or other potential corporations and partners that can come in and help us out. The locations would have to be large locations and to have social distancing. And I can send you over, information if you have a location or somebody or a partner of yours that may have a large auditorium, a gymnasium, a concert hall. We're working with some of our sports teams to open up their arenas, stadiums. So last week we announced Dodger Stadium is going to be a voting location. So we're working with a lot of entities to make sure that we make it easier for counties to establish voting locations. So tapping into that, we've got Dropbox locations, and previously it was mentioned by Cynthia, she's working with Orange County to establish voting by mail drop boxes, and these are going to be important for the community. And because, past 2 months, the governor signed an executive order, establishing all counties to send out vote by mail ballots to all registered voters, regardless if you requested it or voted by mail or do not vote by mail regularly. Everybody is going to get, every registered voter is going to get a vote by mail ballot. So that we're anticipating an increase in participation by voting by mail, and we want to accommodate the need, and we're working with counties to establish voting by mail drop box locations. So we've got several of our partners that are working with us to, look into if their facility, their business is able to accommodate a voting by mail drop box. Think of it this way: a post office box. You've seen those, similar size, but this is going to be decorated with whatever county is in their American flag, a big vote sign on it, and it's going to be clearly marked for voting by mail drop box bin. So some may be small, some may be larger, like the ones over at the public library, the bigger ones where you drop in your books, depending on the foot traffic and the need for that particular area. So if you're interested in pursuing a Dropbox location, please get a hold of your local elections official, the registrar, or you can email me. I can put you in contact with whoever that is. And I just want to say, there's several counties up and down the state that are in dire need of Dropbox locations. Alameda County, San Joaquin County, Fresno, LA, Orange County, and there's a couple other ones in the Inland Empire that are, we need your help. Also, wanted to update you on voting by mail. We all know it's been in the news, United States Post Office, the whole issue with the post office service and all that. So we're working with members of Congress to make sure we have some clarity on, the U.S. Postal Service. Hopefully we can resolve that soon, get them the funding they need to properly, process those vote by mails, because there's going to be millions and millions of vote by mail being processed here in California. There's a critical date that I want to share with you on the horizon. The first week of October is when we expect vote by mail ballots to be mailed out to every registered voter. So October 5th is a big date. And what we're going to be pushing is we're going to be telling people, and we're going to have a wide campaign. There's going to be TV, there's going to be social media, but we want you to be our ambassadors when it comes to vote by mail information. So number one, we want to tell people that vote by mail is coming, and it's the first week of October. You should be expecting that. Now, once you get it, don't sit on it. Don't wait. We want you to fill that out, send it in as soon as you can. You can drop it in the mail. There's no postage necessary. You know, the state has that covered for you. All you have to do is pop it in the mail, or you can deliver it to the drop box nearest you location in whatever county you live in. So each county is going to send out part of the voter guide is going to be sending out information on where you can drop off those ballots, what drop box location. And if you really have to go vote in person, there is going to be voting in person opportunities for everybody. So we're working with counties to make sure, you know, during this pandemic, you know, people are rightfully concerned about what voting is going to look like. So we're working with counties to provide them the proper PPE. You know, we have health guidelines. We're providing them health guidelines to make sure that when they go set up a polling location or a vote center, that it's properly sanitized on a continuous basis, that the machines are cleaned, sanitized, and all poll workers are wearing their masks and PPE. And we're going to be asking voters when they go vote in person, if you really have to go vote in person, to wear your mask. And hopefully we can encourage everybody to be respectful and to follow the guidelines. In addition to state guidelines, each county is offering their own county guidelines. So in addition to ours, you know, county by county is providing county, you know, health guidelines to abide by. So after the whole polling vote center, you know, voting is done, and we're not calling it election day, we're calling it the last day to vote, November 3rd, because in some counties, you're going to have vote centers open 10 days before that, and in some counties, even the weekend before election day. So we don't want anybody to wait till the last day to vote. So we're calling it the last day to vote. So vote by mail, beginning of October. You can vote by mail all of October. And then in some cases, 2 weeks before election day, vote centers will be opened and you'll be able to vote in person. And after the election day is over, you know, the counties are going to be required to provide a deep cleaning of the facility that they are conducting the vote center. So if it's a school gym, if it's a large business, the county will do a deep cleaning and make sure that things are sanitized and safe for everybody to come back to that facility. The last item I wanted to talk to you about is there's going to be a website you're going to be hearing a lot. The website is vote.ca.gov. And this is a great resource for all of you as you go out and talk to your audience and your members. On that website, vote.ca.gov, you can find information on cybersecurity, information on how to be a poll worker, information on vote by mail. And we're encouraging you and all of our partners to visit that website, because there you can find a toolkit of information. You can copy and paste and use it on your social media and make sure you get the right information out there. We're going to be competing with a lot of misinformation, especially on social media. So we're going to rely on we're calling you our democracy ambassadors to get the word out and make sure you get the right information out to your members or your audience, because, you know, we're anticipating there's going to be a lot of confusion, because some people are going to be voting by mail for the first time and they won't know how to be able to do that. And, we're going to be providing them all the resources they need. So use that website as a resource. You can go back to it. We're constantly going to be updating for the needs that we anticipate. And it's vote.ca.gov. And I want to thank you all for your support and all that you're doing. And I'll open it up for some questions if you have any questions. And allow me to close the door because there's a leaf blower coming my way.
Go for it. Thank you, Roberto. Yeah, Roberto here, Eduardo here. I'll kick it off and then invite the group to chime in with any questions. One thing to mention is that thank you and the secretary for recording that audio recording for us. We're going to be running it at our clinics, right? So hopefully we have a captive audience as patients walking through our doors. And despite COVID, people are still coming through our clinic doors, and so that they'll be hearing that message from him. So thank you for that. One question I guess I would pose to you is we've actually had a lot of luck with LA and Orange County in terms of just hitting the lottery with good staffers that are there at the registrar's office that are helping us get involved and like have our clinics support this work. Could we count on your guys' office to help us facilitate introductions for the various counties here that maybe they don't know how to start to engage with their local registrar's office around any of these initiatives, right? Like the ballot boxes or where there's a need, Fresno, Alameda.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm here for. I usually do the outreach for the secretary, getting them to speaking engagements, but we had to do an audible here, and I'm the guy that's working with counties across the state to make that connection, connecting partners to counties, and I'm here to cut the red tape and get you to the right people at each county. I'll be happy to do that.
I think that would be great. Thank you, Roberto. With Maisha's question about the process of pop-up voting, but it'll be great to know from the counties that you're in, or Maisha, like how can you make that connection? Just learn a little bit more. I definitely feel free. Like we could talk. Let's get into the process in LA County and Orange County, but I know each county is a little bit different. So I'm not too sure. Maybe both of you would like to connect in that. Like I said, I'm free to talk. I love to talk about this.
Yeah, I'll just touch a little bit about that. There are going to be some counties that are going to do pop-up. They have their mobile vote center. Orange County has a nice one that they roll around the county when it's election season. Los Angeles has one, and they pick areas where there's high foot traffic. And now with COVID, that changed everything around. So they still have it. It's still going to be used. And there's, depending on whatever county you're in, if you're interested in hosting a mobile vote center, maybe it's at your clinic or your hospital or facility, talk to me. I can put you in the right, with the right people. And I'm looking at Alameda County and Contra Costa are your counties. And I can, if I can get your email address, or Eduardo, if you want to share my email with everybody,
Yep.
Feel free to email me. I can forward it to the right people at those respective counties and get the ball rolling. Yeah.
Awesome, we'll do.
So I know there's another question. Does a poll worker supervisor have to be present, pick up and deliver ballots for each drop boxes? How does that process work? Okay, so Dropbox locations, depending on how busy they are, they will get picked up on a daily basis, or in some cases, even twice a day, depending on the foot traffic or the popularity of that Dropbox. Now, in addition to that, the county's in charge of installing those drop boxes, maintaining it. Maybe there's graffiti on it, or God forbid somebody crashes into it or something like that and needs to be replaced. The county will go out there and replace it, fix it, and then they will sanitize it on a daily basis and clean it out. They want to make sure we do that. And then, ballots get picked up on a daily basis. We don't want ballots being lingered in there, and God forbid somebody throws something in there to damage these ballots. So they take this very, very serious.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Definitely welcome more questions. I know I have one other one. So you mentioned I've been hearing kind of a lot of the chatter around the U.S. Postal Service, and then I've also heard that we're not to worry as much because it kind of is, a scare tactic. But what's really happening with that? Should we be concerned about California and the shape that we're in terms of the U.S. Postal Service?
Well, you should have a plan. Everybody's talking about a plan these days, and you should have a voting plan. When you receive your ballot by mail, or if you want to choose to go vote in person, you should have that plan and execute that plan as early as you can. We don't know what's going to happen with the U.S. Post Office. We do know there's going to be congressional hearings next week, and which will be addressing a lot of the concerns that are rising from the U.S. Postal Service. That's going to be in the news next week, but we don't want to wait. We don't want to wait for the post office to give us, more information. We want everybody to exercise their right to vote and to establish a voting plan for you and your family. And for your members and your audience, you should stress that. First week of October, do not hesitate. Have a plan. Where are you going to drop off your vote by mail? Is it going to be by U.S. Post Office, U.S. Postal Service, or is it going to be at your local, designated drop-off location? Or there's some people that like to go into the polling location and get their stickers, personally get their stickers and do that whole thing. Have a plan and do not wait to the last minute. So that's what we're stressing.
Awesome. Thank you. Very helpful. All right. Anyone else? Please, chime in with questions. If not, Roberto, thank you. I will definitely make sure to share your email address with this group. And as you can see, some of our health center partners service a few different counties in their service area. So I'm sure they'll be able to follow up there. So I'll make sure to share your email address with the group.
Yeah, awesome. And please share my email address. If it's not you, if it's some other organization that wants to get a hold of us, we're here to answer any questions. There's going to be a lot of confusion out there. And once people get their vote by mail, they're going to say, well, I didn't request this. We take the information that we're hearing for granted, but there's going to be a large population that will be receiving their vote by mail for the first time. And they're going to look at this and they're going to say, what the heck is this? So we need to reach that group and make sure they get all the information that they need. Well, thank you so much, you guys. And happy to talk to you offline if you have any questions, and we can set up a call and follow up.
All right, thank you again, Roberto. Thank you for your time, and we'll be in touch and look forward to helping everyone cast their ballot this November and even or starting October, early October. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Have a great day. Thanks again.
All right.
All right. Let's see. Sorry, I expanded my screen here and I don't know what to look at. All right. Thank you, guys. I hope that was information was helpful. You know what? I'll just do that. I'll pull up his contact information now, which I have it on the screen here. Feel free to follow up. We can also share our experience with connecting with our county registrar's office and yeah, it's made a lot of sense. Counties have been really, LA County, our registrar tends to be a little bit of a superstar. And actually that's the wrong PowerPoint, so maybe I won't bring up, I'll just share his email address in the chat box. Our county registrar tends to be a little bit of a superstar, Dean Logan, and so he's been really excited about our partnership. And so he's often said, he's just surprised that we hadn't made the connection to health centers before. They make perfect sense. They're targeting a population that we need to, and especially during COVID right now, we're safe spaces and well-equipped trained staff to be able to understand the precautions a little bit more than your average person. So definitely welcome that. I'm sharing in the chat box Roberto's email address. Feel free to reach out, and he can facilitate that introduction to your county registrar's office. Probably the best contact to get the conversation going. But I will stop there. Before we wrap up the call, in case there's any questions around that process or thoughts on or questions for us about what we've been doing around supporting kind of voting specifically in ballot boxes and things like that. Any questions for us on that?
So definitely do want to mention, and of course, there's questions you could always reach us. Sometimes you start thinking about these after like the meeting's done. You're like, oh, I had this great question. But what we started thinking before even talking to the registered office, they might have something on the website. But start looking at your facility, start looking at your staff and what is feasible. So if you have that plan, a very, just outline of what could work. For example, like the staff ballot boxes, if those are available, or any spaces you might have, it helps you before you start reaching out to have that in mind. I'm not saying a solid plan, but definitely have something in mind to see what could work for each of your locations. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. And with that, I guess we'll start to wrap up. Next steps will include, let me just share the screen. You guys should have, Victor shared with you guys the reporting link for just to keep us on track. Per our MOU, we also had a monthly, let's see if this is going to work, a monthly reporting requirement, right? So we try to keep it simple. I hope you guys can see this monthly My Vote, My Health report link. You guys can see your drop down. You guys select your health center, date, and then just a series of questions that we'll be asking on a monthly basis to see how we're doing progress wise. And so please, the first one was unfortunately late because we got started a little late. So submit August when you have a chance, and then moving forward, please submit monthly reports for the next few months leading up until November. I see, Christina, you have a question? Let's see if I can open this chat box.
I do have a question. So, we're doing a lot of these things, but we're not doing them all at once. So when I answer, for example, for the month of August, do I just select what we're doing, say, in August, and then in September, there may be additional activities, or do you want me to go ahead and identify everything that we intend to do?
That's a really good question. I welcome Victor's thoughts on that as well, but I would say month by month might be helpful. But I would love to hear more specifically, like, so are you guys, for instance, like handing out flyers in August and then running screensavers or TV commercials in September, or like what does that look like for you guys?
Right. So, for example, this Friday there'll be, the sort of big announcement from the CEO to all of the providers and staff that we're, doing this. And then the pledge cards go out next week. And then the screensavers will happen in a couple of weeks. Texting starts in about a month. So it's all kind of staggered.
Okay, then month by month would be helpful to kind of explain what the phases that you're starting to implement it sounds like that as they build up. That's certainly helpful. Yeah, the idea is that we want to do 5 touches, overall. But if the lead up is kind of building on and you guys are scaling it up, that's perfectly fine. And please report it that way.
And that works.
Okay,
yep.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right. Any other questions? Again, we try to keep it pretty straightforward. We're trying to don't need extensive narratives, but just kind of quick updates on each section. I hope you had a chance to see that. And let us know if there's any questions we can reshare as well, so you have that handy Awesome. Okay, so I mean, next steps will be, so we had committed to doing 4 of these trainings. Our last one will be in September. Welcome any thoughts on what it could be most helpful. The next couple of weeks we'll be continuing to finalize a lot of the material. We'll try to get that out to you as soon as possible. We have shared some of the electronic copies, versions of different materials. Let us know any thoughts, any questions. If you need different formats or different sizes, let us know. One question that came back was regarding, so print shops need different formats and with bleed over, whatnot, all these technical print terms. And so we're happy to provide different formats of the material and sizes and different high resolution images so that you guys can print that. Let us know about that. We can also, again, we can connect you to print shops that that have indicated and have been able, obviously, with the price cards, been able to ship to your guys' locations as well. So happy to do that. One thing that we'll be looking to do in September is also cover National Voter Registration Day, right? So it's a big kind of national push. We're hoping to coordinate a statewide effort with CPCA around September 22nd, the National Voter Reg Day. But we'll be more in touch on that front as well. And so yeah, thank you. We'll be in touch with in terms of the 4th and final training, and we'll keep you guys posted on that.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah. I was just say thank you everyone for your participation. Just a heads up, CPCA is planning a member-wide webinar on similar to what we learned today on voting and the safety of getting your ballots and turning them in. So we're in the process of planning that, but stay tuned for that communication in case you want to share it with your broader colleagues at the different health centers.
All right, awesome. If no other questions, thank you guys for your time. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great day, and let us know if there's any questions. Feel free to follow up.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you all.
Thank you. Bye.